So hello to everyone. My name is Teppo or Isperia. You can find me at Twitter at Isperia underscore or from email at isperia@desucon.fi. And the hashtag for the series that I'll be talking about is usually hashtag #nomi. If you want to ask questions, feel free to ask them at any time. If I don't notice you immediately, just wave your hand a bit more or jump up and yell. I'm not necessarily very good at noticing questions. This presentation will be in English, but I'm a native Finnish speaker, so if you want to ask your questions, you can ask them in Finnish as well. I'll answer them in English, but either way is fine. I'll try to repeat them as best I can in English for the setup, though. So, this presentation, as I said, will be in English, will be based mostly around the anime of The World God Only Knows, not the manga version, although I have read that somewhat as well. And it's a bit image heavy, so I'll be talking and there'll be pictures. And some of the images and, well, actually text would be wrong, speech might get a bit raunchy. All of the subs that are shown in the pictures are from the translator group Chihiro. My Japanese is not perfect, so they might not be exactly spot on every time, but they're pretty good, which is why I used them as well. But on to the subject, and about that, that I'm be using the anime, not the manga. This is a clip from the manga version, I think volume 8, episode 86 or something. And here's a clip from the anime. So you won't be losing that much, since the anime, when it does a storyline, it usually uses the exact images from the manga, screen to screen. So it'll be easy to follow even if you haven't watched the anime and only read the manga. And I've actually tried to make this presentation so that even if you haven't done either, you should be able to follow this pretty well. And I chose the anime mostly because I like the art style of the anime a lot more. For one, it's full colored. The manga not so much. It's got like 3 colored, well, half colored episodes because it's mostly been on mid pages, not top pages. And it's done in black and white otherwise. And also, I really, really like the seiyus that they have in the anime. The voice acting is very good. And of course, little Keima there knows best, so expensive is better, and the anime costs more. And I've also began watching #nomi as the anime when the first season rolled out. Spoiler warning. Especially towards the end of this presentation, I'll be having some spoilers in here because I can't really talk about the meta of the series and the genre without spoiling some of the 3rd season or the Goddesses arc, which is rather important about all the meta aspects I'll be discussing here. So, what are we gonna do this evening? This presentation is kind of meant to be an unveiling of the meta aspect of The World God Only Knows, #nomi zo Shiru Sekai, or #nomi for short. And I kind of want to expand on the aspect of the series so that we'll get to know tonight what is #nomi's approach to meta as a kind of a subtrope, and especially meta in the harem anime and galges games genres. And what are the tropes of those 2 genres and how do they interlapse? So, and why do those tropes make Kaminomi funny or not funny? And I had a pretty wordy ingress for my presentation, shown here, and it's not exactly correct. I rewatched the whole 3 seasons of Kaminomi for this presentation, and well, actually finished the 3rd one since it wasn't up fully when I decided to do this presentation. And I mulled a bit over this bit I wrote back in September or something, and I'm kind of wrong about some of the preconceptions I had on this. Kaminomi isn't just a meta anime, which kind of is here. It's meta anime. It takes the meta jokes and then spins them around once more so that you get a kind of a double meta joke there. But we'll get to that when I get that far here, hopefully. But I will try to delve to the fullest of my ability in this presentation, the meta and meta aspects of both the genres of Galgas games, harem animes, and Kaminomi Shiru Sekai in specific. And I hope I'll be able to answer all the questions I kind of pinned here. But harem animes, what makes them tick? This is a picture from, can't remember which harem anime. Of course, it's the Baths episode. Fan service. Way. So, stereotypical harem animes. For one, from Naval, Shuffle. The anime of Shuffle is pretty, I don't know, PG-13. There's these cute girls, one's from heaven, one's from hell. They all want the same guy. 2 are normal, 1 is kind of dead. All the typical stuff. And the anime series is pretty normal-ish. All of the girls go out on dates with the main guy, yada yada blah, he picks one. And then there's the game that this is based on, made by Naval, in which he gets a bit more touchy-feely with the girls. All of them. This is actually very usual for the anime versions. When they begin as games, they're usually PG-18 or PG-16, so you get rather explicit sets in there, and then they turn them into anime, and they want to pander them for younger audiences, so they pick out all the raunchy bits, and then you just get cute kissy scenes and moving on. But Shuffle is one of the biggest Galgas games to be made anime. It was really big in Japan as a game, and it got made an anime which wasn't that big. And well, Naval, that is the company behind this, is one of the 2 big Galgas game makers in Japan. There are a lot of others, but these are the 2 big beginning of the 2000s companies that made the genre happen. The other one being Key, from which this is canon, the kind of start of the harem anime culture. The game came out in 1999, and it was rather erotic. And then they made a anime, again non-explicit, so not erotic anymore. This kind of happens to all of the series I'll be showing off here. There are only a few more actually, but this began it, and again from Key, another one a few years later, Clannad. Again, first a game, then a visual novel, then it became a manga, then it became an anime. So they kind of key them up. If they get something popular, they print it and reprint it, because these things sell. Young boys like to watch or play stuff about picking up young girls. And the last one from Key, To Heart. which was good enough as a game and an anime to get a sequel, aptly named to Heart 2. And there are some combined features in all of the shows and games that I just showed up there. But the biggest one, as I said, is the fact that they're based on games. Almost all of harem animes are originally based on games. The only anime versions came a lot later. So, Bishoujo games, or galges, as for short, literally pretty girl games. So, you know what you're in for. And the two biggest companies to be printing these out were Naval and Key. They kind of faded, both of them. Key is still doing fine, Naval not so much. Galges games, Bishoujo games, sold mainly to a young adult male audience, and original games, as I said, usually are rather lot more explicit with a lot more, usually even sex scenes. So it's about selling sex to young adult men. And then you get the anime reprints, which are sweeter, aimed at the younger audience, kind of more that's so cute. Also aimed at girls. The games, boys. The anime, boys and girls. The biggest difference is there. So, what are the tropes, the biggest things that make these things tick? Number 1, the protagonist, the guy you play as. A bland, boring dude. This is the guy from Shuffle. I didn't write down his name and I can't remember it right now, sorry. He's that bland, seriously. He lives somewhere downtown and he's really nice to everybody. That's his winning trait. He's really nice. Oh, you're a really nice guy there. But he's Rin, yeah. Rin's a really nice guy. He's like the best wingman you could ever hope for. He's so nice, he's so stupidly nice that he would do anything to help you score or get forward or whatever. And that's kind of the reason all the girls fall for him. He's just really nice. And then he gets into crazy antics about it. And there's not really that much personality about him. There's one personality trait that he has that's not being nice. A tragic past. That's the second thing that's usual about these guys. They have a tragic past. Every protagonist has a dark, deep secret somewhere in his... that one possibly too, yeah. I heard dark, deep fantasy from the third row there. But that he doesn't want anyone to know, but one of the girls always knows and it turns into crazy antics somewhere. But other people in the games, the friend, the stupid sidekick, guy that helps or hinders and provides comic relief, sort of a catch-all idiot, usually stupid, one, energetic, helpful to a degree, not as helpful as the main guy. The main guy's nice, he's just comic relief. Oh yeah, he's from Clannad, Yohei. He's the best friend of the main character. They're both kind of box in otaku, hikikomori kind of types. But the point is, his character type is the kind of person that should help you, but kind of ends up getting in the way. Or he's trying to help and fails miserably. The trope, of course, of the side character, partner character, has come a ways, as Keima here proclaims. Katsuragi Keima, there, the main character of Kaminomi, so Shiru Sekai, the world God only knows, has some pretty steep ideas about how people in these kinds of environments should work, and he makes his points known. I'll have some of those points up in this lecture as well. But onward with the tropes. the cute animal companion, of course, for no reason. There's never a reason for this guy. He's just cute. He's an animal. He's cute. Oh, he's from Clanad Puchi or Puhi or something. Ah, Botan. Yeah. Ah, yeah. It's what he says. It's Puhi Puhi, but his name is Botan. Yeah. Cute animal guy or gal. You never really find out. No one looks under the skirt of these things. But it usually kind of just is there for the main guy to go bow, and everyone else of the guys, of course, is like, why do you have an animal? And ching, points for the main character. And then there's stuff like the sick scenes. There's these trope scene things that kind of happen in every Galgas game and every harem anime. They're just tropes, genre antics that come across as kind of every game has them. But of course, the most important thing is the girls. There's often, almost all of the time nowadays, especially if it is made into a harem anime, as the name implies, there are multiple girls. There are some Galgas games that only come with one girl, but they're kind of dying out, it seems. Mostly people seem to prefer kind of a roster from which to pick up, and it gives you kind of a choice. You can pick your favorite, because of course the girls have tropes. I'll be coming back to that later. The girls are almost always sort of archetypes, sort of stereotyped things, really. They have these, and I'm serious about this, they're not so much personalities as they are kind of templates that you mold personalities into. You've got the sports girl. Go ahead. Yeah, exactly. Their appearance tells you what their trope is. So from just looking at them, you can kind of tell what trope they are about. Actually come to that point a bit more later, but very good point, and it's definitely true. The games want to make it easy for the player and later the animes for the watcher to identify who's who. And all of this kind of brings me to my point, which is that the harem animes and Galgas games are about tropes. They're about archetypes. They're printed around the idea that the people who will buy these products know what this product should have in them, and it's what makes them sell. It's really what people are expecting and what they get. Yeah. This isn't actually the first presentation about Kaminomiso Shiru Sekai. Last summer in Desucon 2013, there was a presentation called Kaada kaunottaria kuin Keima Katsuragi, held by Mike and Zoro. And, well, it wasn't that much really about the series. It was about girl pickup tactics. But it spun its dime around the series, so it counts. And they had some really good points about the series as well. I'll actually underline them when I get to those points. But yeah, they kind of more focused on how Keima got his girls, and I'll be both focusing a bit more on the why Keima gets his girls and why he's actually trying to get the girls. And he's a bit more of a case example. Anyway, Keima, that is. Yeah, the world God only knows. Keima and the girls. As I've said, Kaminomi for short. I'll be using that title mostly. The series itself likes to use the world God only knows. It uses it in its openings, in its endings, in its extra material, but Kaminomi is kind of the stick-around term. And it's basically a harem anime. The harem anime. Of course, normally, as I said, harem animes are usually remade Galgas games where they've either picked one girl's game line that they go through, or they've kind of chosen the right girl that the gamer should choose, or the game made them choose anyway. But Kaminomi is not so much about games. Of course, it's not made on a game, and it's about a guy who plays Galges games. Keima loves Galges games. It's his life. He's not your basic consumer. He's the consumer. He is the guy who plays Galges games. Katsuragi Keima, the capturing god, as he calls himself. The name of Keima is actually also a pun. I spell it Keima, he spells it Keima. He uses a half-hard K for his name and actually has a few catchphrases. Keima's not a usual Japanese name. It could be a shortening of a name, but it's not really a name. It's a pun on the fact that he's a gamer. And the way that Japanese pronounce gamer is Keima. He's Keima. So the series likes to do these kinds of meta puns that you might find or might not find. Some of them are a lot more out there than this one, but there are a few times that Keima really makes it kind of shine through. One of them is this. He pronounces it with almost a hard K, but it's clear from the subtext that he means that this is a gamer's love, not Keima's love. And the name puns are easy to miss most of the times, but are out there. This is, I think, from the last episode of the 3rd season. So I only came across this when I was finishing the set, so I didn't have time to watch for the other name puns, but there should be quite a few out there. But as I said, Keima is not your everyday Galges protagonist. He's not your everyday nice guy, the bland feller who you just find there, who everyone wants to chat with. Let's hear it from the man.
僕が好きなのはゲームの女子だけだ。リアルなんてクソゲーだ。メールだよ。ようこそ迷える子羊たち。はじめまして、おとし神です。ゴスゴスパニックみんな苦労してるみたいですね。秋色、いいゲームですよね。さて攻略の方ですが、そうさ、現実の不合理かつ不条理なものにかかずらう必要はない。僕は落とし神、ゲーム世界の神だ。送信したよ。さて次のメールは。
Yeah, that's the kind of guy he is. So he has this title, The Capturing God, and he uses it online to give people advice about Galges games. If anyone has trouble with a game, they come to him. He's played them all, or if he hasn't, he plays them in a few hours and tells you how to get through your trouble spots. He boasts on being able to play through any Galges game, capture any girl, the name Capturing God. And he's a real Asperger, seriously. The move you saw at the beginning, the shift classes, that's his trope move. He does it every time he has something to declare. He's like, yeah, about this. And he's kind of a hikikomori. He doesn't talk to people, he just plays his games. And he goes into rather neckbeardish rants about the games and how the characters should be, and about, well, everything else related. He's not really someone you'd see girls falling for. And then there's the secondary character, Elsie, or Elusia de Luteima from Hell. Yeah, She's a demon from New Hell, assigned as Keima's buddy or partner. Yeah, she is the partner character. She uses the word partner a lot in the beginning for capturing lost souls. And yeah, Keima was chosen to capture the lost souls because he's the capturing god. And he said he can capture any girl alive, and the lost souls, loose souls, also used evil souls that have escaped from hell, as the title says there, need to be captured as follows. There are these evil souls that worm their ways into the emptiness in a girl's heart. Yeah. And that hole needs to be filled with, well, what else? Love. And then the soul is pushed out and can be captured. So there's the souls escaping, and there's a couple of gists to this one. So if Keima doesn't help Elsie capture them, which is what he first pronounces, pop goes the weasel. Yeah, that rather spiffing purple ring he has around his neck, Elsie has one too. If he doesn't help, or if they don't capture souls, or if they fail a capture, the ring goes pop and they both die. And it works both ways. So if one of them dies, the other one dies too. So he signs the contract, it's on an email, and decides, yeah, I can help you capture this girl, or these girls, actually. There's just, can you help us capture as many girls as possible? Yeah, sure. Well, read your emails. And there's the buddy character arc, really. That's the reason Elsie is the partner character. Yeah, with a force of 1,000 suns. Can't get rid of her. And yeah, Keima doesn't really warm up to her in the beginning. And again, here we go with Keima's reflections on how this game should be. So Elsie ends up living at Keima's place, and he's triggering this. She says that she is his little sister, and there are these events that Keima keeps on referring to, and they are kind of trope events, as I showed you the picture of the stick event. They're the same type, and Keima keeps on referring to these as part of the game meta genre. But yeah, Elsie ends up living with them because she tells his mother that she's her husband's illegitimate child. So Keima's dad is off seas working somewhere. It's never really explained. But yeah, she's a bit scary this way. She really doesn't think her ideas through and just proclaims stuff like this. Keima's mother spins on a dime about this, calling her husband that he never needs to return home and all that. But, oh well, it happens, I suppose. Elsie is not the only demon that we get in the series. There's Hakwa du Lot Terminium, another demon from hell. Begins as a kind of side character, a one-off thing. She's actually a capture in one of the episodes. She's really Elsie's counterpart. Elsie is a bumbling fool. She's dumb as bricks. And Hakwa is the prime girl. She's the school star. Elsie's kind of stupid, energetic bumbler that kind of gets things right by mistake, whereas Hakwa is a thoughtful, skillful, model student kind of a girl who doesn't really make it in the real world. And the way she ends up in the series is that there's a demon in hell that was captured and she accidentally let escape again. And She's introduced as a capture target. That's a name Keima uses for the girls. They're not girls, they're not ladies, they're not even people, they're capture targets. And she gets a hole in her heart because of her school problems. She kind of teenage drama moment there. And in the end, she's helped by Elsie, not Keima, to fill the emptiness, to feel assured that she can do well in the real world as well. And it all wraps up rather well. And here's Keima normally dealing with girls. That's his normal girls dealing modus. He doesn't really do that well with girls. Like, really doesn't. He's not a hero. He's not the guy who would run to help. If he has the option, he skips out. Here is actually the situation where Keima is dodging the Hakwa problem. Elsie is trying to get Hakwa out of it, and Keima is laying on the roof and letting people walk over him so that he wouldn't get into the fight. A bit of a meta trope there as well. Keima gets walked on a lot in the series, and yeah. But he's not really a non-hero either. He does have redeeming qualities, and they're downplayed or brought up as the series necessity dictates. If the girls keep on noticing and bringing it up that he's calm, he's goal-driven, he's excessively intelligent, and he mentioned it himself, he's really analytical. And this really works better for him capturing girls than you'd think. He's also kind of very trustworthy. If he promises something, he'll do it. But if he can weasel his way out of it, he won't promise it. There's a bit of a bipolarity there. So game was played as kind of three characters in the series. Mode 1, the guy you saw there lying on the roof, is your basic Keima. Not that good with people, not that good with girls. All of his classmates actually call him Otamega, a combination from otaku and mechanico. So kind of anime nerd and four eyes, a word used for geeks with eyeglasses. And the basic Keima, he refuses to interact with people. He plays his games, and he's kind of a sideline character. He just is there, really. And then there's the other end, gamer Keima. He doesn't care about the real world at all. He's got this really cool gaming rig, though. He lives for the dating sims. This is the original capturing god that the game plays on, and it's kind of like he's always been. He's always played his games. And he's really passionate about those games. He can play, I think, 8 games simultaneously and follow all the plots and hit all the keynotes. And this is actually one of the biggest running gags that are focused around Keima. If they've got filler episodes or kind of joke punchlines inside episodes, they're always about him being a gamer. And he's really, really passionate about the games. And then there's the third mode of Keima that was the focus of the other lecture, the Kaada Kaunottaria kuin Keima Katsuragi. It was all about this, the capturing god type of Keima, but not the gamer capturing god, but the kind of player capturing god. He's the antisocial gamer usually, but if forced, he uses his gamer wiles to become this kind of a sleek ladies man. This is Keima when he's hitting on girls, and he hits on girls like they were game characters. They're not girls for him. They're Galgest tropes. Actually, this is the thing that really makes the meta aspect of Kaminomi stand out. The girls for Keima and for a lot of the series itself are not as such girls as classic real life girls. They are gamer tropes. And Keima really likes to point that out. He makes all of his comments during conquests or captures. He uses both words about games. His reference frame is games. When he talks about the girls, the captures, he's not wooing anyone. He's not hitting on girls. He's capturing them. He talks in game terms. He thinks in game terms. He even becomes a kind of a different kind of protagonist character when needed. His demeanor changes. His language changes. Usually, Keima uses pronoun boku. He's bokuno, always the boy pronoun. But when he's hitting on high-class targets, he starts using watashi wa. He changes the way he acts according to what kind of a girl he's hitting on. And he really only cares about the girls, or claims to care about the girls as sort of game targets. His reference frame is that everything is, the situations are like they are in games. And this is one of the, I think, deeper or even deepest meta aspects that Kaminomi has. It's usually when the meta aspects are discussed about Kaminomi, it's kind of like, yeah, it's meta, it's about games, meh, moving on. But this is perhaps the most obtuse. It comes on really strong and kind of feels needless. I kind of disagree on the fact that it's needless. The game likes to throw around these kind of trope and series jokes. It's contextual. It's really contextual. There's, of course, Dragon Ball Z context here. It's kind of, I think every time Kaminomi does a game meta joke, it's kind of doing this double entendre. First, it's showing off that it can do intertextuality, it can do contextual jokes. And then it goes off and shows that, yeah, we know this is contextual. Look at us knowing we know it's contextual. It pokes fun at other games. It pokes fun at other anime. It pokes fun at tropes in anime, and then it points at them and goes, hey, look, see, we made fun about this. Like, for example, this screen here, it's really, really obvious that it's about Dragon Ball Z. Then it goes on like, yeah, we made a joke about that. So what? And it does this for a lot of series. This is a joke on Ouran High School Host Club, if you don't know. These kind of jokes that are really obvious aren't that abundant, but they're not really remiss either. There are a lot of these in the series. And the more subtle ones are a lot harder to find. I know I missed a lot of them. I had a few friends who have watched the series. One of them, my flatmate, point out a few. Later on, I did not have time to include all of them in this presentation, but and it kind of pokes fun at game meta as well. This is about as clear of a joke as you can get on how Galgest games have moved on in the years. There was this kind of phase where Galgas games were they tried to become role-playing games, and it was shunned by the fans. People didn't want level ups and role-playing aspects as such in Galgas games, so those games didn't really catch on, and Keima pokes fun at that as well. He is the most critical consumer you could get, and the series likes to play that out. And it's where the meta aspect really gets to show off. It's not really a simple game of... There we go. Simple game of circus. It's not just the clowns declaring, here we are again, and driving in the ring. It's the ringleader and the bears in the back thinking, hey, why do the clowns do this every time? It sleeps on this a bit, and the hows and whys of why it sleeps become kind of more and more evident when the series progresses. It's not as keen on holding on to the meta joke, but it is the series that watches the Watchmen as such. But yeah, the most important thing about the series is capturing loose souls. They are these kind of spirits that fill the heart of girls and come out as kind of a colored smoke with a face and end up in a bottle that becomes huge or small as needed. And the why they come out is, of course, love, but the way that they really come out is kiss. The ceiling kiss, the harem anime trope, also Galgas trope. It's kind of the thing that makes you choose one girl. You choose the girl you kiss, and then you're stuck with your choice. And this is where normal harem animes usually end. You kiss one girl, you've picked her, you're done. Not so much in Kami no Mi though. Keima kisses a girl, the captured target, the soul comes out, the captured target loses their memory, and the memory goes with the loose soul, and Keima remembers what happened, Elsie remembers what happened, no one else remembers what happened. And Keima moves on to the next girl. Bit of a player there. And this is kind of a meta kit toolbox. Keima, they can throw in a girl trope. When the girl is captured, they throw in another trope. So they get to explore the core points of the genre's metas. And the girls end up usually in supporting cast after capture. This becomes important later. The supporting cast is in itself a set of tropes. That's Keima's mom. Just sort of a combo joke. She's at the same time the kind of classic Galgas mom or harem mom thrown in the one big ball. She's the one that throws all the kid jokes, the kind of I'm disappointed at you, son, mother, the wish you did better, wish you were well, and the do better, mother, all at the same time. But at the same time, of course, she's the Puma interest. Oh well. And she's played for both of these roles. Kami no Mi likes to do this. It takes kind of genre trope and it rolls it into a huge ball, all of the aspects of it, the ones that you don't usually see in one character. It throws it all into one character and throws it on the screen. The series has a thing about baths. We'll get to that later. And then there's the teachers, of course. He's in school, so yeah. This is Keima's English teacher, Ichiro Kodama, and he's the English teacher, or more also the male teacher trope. He's a nasal-voiced, brick-jawed, pissed off at Keima teacher that the kind you get in every school-based anime or school-based really game. He's he's really badly dressed. He's always wearing that jacket. It's bloody horrible. It doesn't really show off here on the screen. It's a light pink that's got all those rose petal things around it. He's kind of badly dressed. He's badly old. He's badly out of touch with the youth that he's teaching. And all of the teachers are kind of like him. There's only two that are really ever played out in the series, though. There's him and their homeroom teacher. I'll get back to that later. But the most important thing about the series and the whole genre as such are, of course, the girls. It's about the girls, always about the girls. And as you pointed out earlier, the heroines always have a kind of unique trait, and you can tell by the way they look what their unique trait is. There's the sports girl. I'll go through the girls in the series in capture order. Well, mostly in capture order, actually. But yeah, Takahara Ayumi, the first capture, the energetic, flustery sports girl, the always energetic, always running thing. There's Ayama Mio. She's rich, she's aloof, she's apart, and she's short. Keima points out that she's short, so that makes her all of the other things. She's got cat ears, blonde hair. If she's short, she must be an aloof character. Keima actually proclaims this in the series, and he has these proclamations in general. He does these somewhat. They're always signed, and the text misses the part aloof characters, which is the first line there. Aloof characters armor themselves to protect their pureness, and these are always kind of the most obvious meta jokes about the Galgest genre. As such, Keima throws them in, the series throws them in, and you really get this proclamation screen, like, hey, here's a meta joke, look at it, haha, moving on. And they always come true. If Keima makes a proclamation that gets a screen, it's always true. Except for this one. Real girls with no personality have no flags to hit. This is about how Keima refers to games versus real world. He doesn't like real girls because they're bothersome, whereas game girls are something pure and true, a meta type of a girl. If you get a sports girl, it's just a sports girl. It doesn't have any add-ons. There's no appendages. It's just a girl that likes sports. Real girls, they've got other interests. There's pestering, they're bothersome, they're in the way. But on with the girls. Third is Naga Kawakanon. She's an idol girl, and kind of a spin on the shy girl archetype as well. The series got to do some extra polarization between two ends of the spectrum here. The reason that she needs to be captured is that she wasn't really popular. Actually, she was really unpopular. She was unnoticed, and she's afraid she'll become unnoticed again. So, and her name is probably also a name pun. As I showed you earlier, the really popular harem and Galgest series and games canon was there. And snow is an ever-present and kind of big thematic thing in canon, the earlier thing, and also in canon's capture. And keeping promises is also really, really important in her story arc, which is kind of important in the canon original as well. But the next capture, Shiomi Ashiori, the library girl, which ends up taking, I think, 4 episodes of the 12 in the first season. And there was a lot of dedication put into this. She's the intelligent, the real shy girl instead of Kanon, who's kind of an outgoing shy girl. She's the introvert type. She's the true bookish girl, the library girl archetype. And another proclamation by Keima, I didn't get this with subs, but it reads, if you listen carefully, you can hear a bookish girl's inner voice. So one of Keima's proclamations, almost half of the girls in the series get a proclamation from Keima, something that relates to their tropes. Telling us about how that part of the Galges universe works in reflection. And he's really picky about his librarian characters, and he's sure that she won't make the cut, and she's proclaiming that Shiori can't be the perfect example of a librarian character, so he won't even bother. And then she ends up bringing all of the books in the library that relate to fire engines because Elsie asked them. She asked for 3 hours time because she had to go pick them all. There's a huge cart of them. But yeah, there was that screen about the inner voice, and Keima goes, well, this chapter will be easy then. She's a bookish girl, she has an inner voice. Then Elsie goes on to proclaim, yeah, but she's a real girl. And then Keima realizes that, yeah, can't do it then. But he ends up swapping the inner and outer voices of Shiori and kind of swaps her inner monologue into her outer speech, which is something that Keima can do. He can kind of mold the world around him if he decides to. The series has magic, but the only things that are really able to do magic are the demons in the beginning, but Keima can just, with willpower, he can change the world around him. He can force other characters to swap their inner and outer monologues with these kind of gamer tricks. And the series uses it as a kind of tool to just, well, we need to get to explore this part, so plop, Keima can do stuff now. And Shiori is the last capture of the first season. And she really hammers in that Keima can change reality around him. It's a curious aspect. It's one of the few aspects that's never explained in the series. He just can do it. If he's in capturing God mode, he kind of warps reality around him. It becomes more game-like. It's not that he changes it into another reality, it changes into a game. I don't know if it's important as such, but I found it worthy of note, so brought it out to you. But season 2, capture targets. Kasuga Kusunoki, martial artist, hard girl, kind of. She doesn't like any cute thing. She can't have cute things around her. She needs to train. She needs to become harder. Except she gets a loose soul into her that ends up splitting her personality so that she has this ghost in herself that really loves cute things like kittens and fluffy dresses. And Keima ends up kind of combining these two. He goes out with the cute version, and some fun is poked at this kind of bipolarity of the character, but Kusunoki ends up being a sort of a sideshow. She's, I think, 2 episodes and 6 episodes in the manga or something. She's a really small part of the... No, it's more than 6, but it's not that much. It's an interesting theme, but it's never really explored. She just splits into 2, and then she's rammed back into 1, and ends up being a kind of a side character off into the wings. And next up, Kosaka Chihiro, the normal girl. This is the one that came up with the biggest trouble because Chihiro is in Keima's class 2B, and she's the archetypical real girl. She's all the things that Keima proclaims are problematic about capture. She's something that she's boring. Except, well, yeah, Keima says, yeah, she's the real person. She's not a trope, so she's not really interesting. But she ends up breaking a lot of the tropes that the series has built thus far. And, well, next up, Nagase Jun, teacher trainee. She's a grown up woman. Keima is 17. And the series doesn't really care about it that much. They just, Keima ends up kind of trying to hit on his teacher. And again, plays a lot on the aspects. It happens sometimes in Galgas games that teacher is one of the girl options. It's not that usual, but it happens. And again, there's the problem about it, but Keima kind of figures out that he can garner ideas from their homeroom teacher. Yeah, Nikaido Sensei, Keima's homeroom teacher, is the other Puma interest. She's an older woman that's played to the fullest with the sex appeal. She always wears a shirt like that, or even deeper cut in some situations. And even though Kaminomi is rather family friendly, it doesn't really do, well, it doesn't do explicit at all. It does rather little fan service, but she's the closest it gets to constant fan service, which is kind of interesting. The series doesn't poke fun at fan servicing at all, which is one of the biggest things, especially in harem animes, not so much in the games. And but it is self-aware of the meta aspect, so when it does fan service, it does do it. I mentioned baths earlier, and the series has a fixation on those. They kind of just, a lot of the scenes end up happening in bathrooms because, hey, why not? It kind of pokes fun at it later, but it gets a bit odd from time to time. This is one of the little sister events that Elsie is trying to trigger. She's sorry about something, can't remember what, and wants to wash Keima's back because of that. And yeah, it's the focus on the bathroom scenes really seems kind of unnecessary at times. Like, this is the end of an episode. There's just this one blurred and the camera pans up and then we're done. There's really, the girls just end up in bathrooms with Keima, and yeah, and Keima kind of ends up in girls' bathrooms as well. Yeah. And this is actually, in this episode, it even makes no sense that Chihiro is in the bath. Keima calls and says he's coming over. She knows he's coming over and she goes and takes a bath. Keima even mentions it later. He's like, why did you take a bath? Chihiro's like, okay then. And then there's this. And it's also always possible that Keima's just a kind of a bath rapist. 'Cause, come on. But this is basically, these kinds of images are the closest that we get to fan service, apart from few, really few panty shots. There are some actually jokes made about panty shots and why it always happens when you meet a character the first time. And then, of course, happens because you meet a character the first time and the series can't make a joke and not show it off. But now that we are in the neighborhood of fan service, yeah, she's in Keima's bedroom here, passed out because of the heat, because she was under the same blanket as Keima. because Keima had another girl coming in, so he needed to hide her. And yeah, when Kaminomi does fan service, it really likes to show it off, kind of like, yeah, look, we're doing fan service. And then it kind of just leaves it there. But there are still more capture targets. And back to the matters at hand. Actually, we came to the end of the second season in the anime, and the anime skips a lot of captures here, so I needed to refer to the manga a bit, because the anime moves on to a bit of a bigger plot line, which is the Goddesses arc, which I'll get to in a few minutes. But there are a few girls, 14. We've gone through 7. So in the anime, Keima rolls up the 7 that are there really fast. And they aren't even names, they're just, again, the tropes. There's the underclassman, the ghost, the ramen cook, the shogi player, the older woman. Yeah. In capture order, Ikami Minosa, underclassman, young and sweet kind of character archetype. Hinaga Riego, the ghost, made to accept that she'll be living alone since she's a ghost. The ramen chef, the energetic, loves to eat, very Galges kind of thing. Character archetype. If anyone's ever played or watched, more played though, Kanon, eating is one of the really big tropes the girls have in that game. It's the series creator once said that when you make a girl eat something in a cute way, it really brings out how cute she can be, and she's an exploration of that. Then there's Hyper Nanaka, a shogi player. She's kind of honest, persistent, proud, kind of driven girl archetype. And in the middle, Kasuga Hinoki, the older sister of Kusunogi, the hard/cute, split, loud, kind of Western type of character. And one of the more fan servicey characters as well. It seems that all of the older ladies in the series end up being kind of boob shows. And then there's 3 more. This is capture number 8, actually. The first one after the season 2 end. Kuchiyo Tsukiyo, a pure character. She's an astrologist girl that loves only pure and beautiful things. So she's fixated on dolls. And that's really the point of her capture. She becomes doll-sized because she's really fixated on becoming pure and things. And Keima needs to make her understand that beauty can exist in the real world as well. Goido Yui, capture number 14, is a rich and shy girl that ends up swapping bodies with Keima. This is not how she looks originally. She has long flowing hair and wears a yukata almost all the time. And she lives in Keima's body for a couple of weeks and turns into a tomboy character. Because of course she does. And she actually captures Keima in her body instead of the other way around. And her plotline kind of pokes fun at the gender unfamiliarity and the Japanese trope of boys and girls not really knowing what boys and girls are about, but it doesn't really go anywhere with it. Just kind of goes, ha ha, now we have a boy in a girl's body and the other way around. But she's mostly uneventful. And then there's this one girl who actually in the anime got herself a mini-series between the second and third seasons. Ayukawa Tenri, childhood friend character. Friend of Keima's, been in love with him since like 6 or something. And introduction also to the third season story arc, the Goddesses arc. she's kind of a shy childhood friend character. And yeah, childhood friends are considered future brides. So Keima is not really impressed with her. He even ends up bringing up marriage a few times because of this and later on, but he kind of brings game logic into that as well. So if he was to get married, would have to have all of these really specific things, or it wouldn't work. And if it's not, so if something's not game worthy, if it's not game like, Keima just ignores it. It doesn't happen in his world. He's kind of forced to bend from this trope when he encounters Chihiro, but he really just, if it's not game worthy, it's not just for him. And here are the girls that he's captured thus far. Now we go into real spoiler territory about the third arc to explore the meta things. And Kaminomi is in both the anime and manga is split into story arcs to create a kind of continuity. But the story arcs are kind of apart from each other. They're not really a continuity. They're just capture arc 1, capture arc 2, etc., until we get to the goddesses arc. And we don't get any new captures in the goddesses arc. I think everyone who doesn't want to spoil this out now. And yeah, so we end up in a situation where Tenri and 5 other girls, previous captures, have a goddess inside them, which has entered them with the loose soul. And it kind of turns the series into a mix of Shonen Jump and harem stories all of a sudden. Instead of being a Galgas thing, all of a sudden we're playing this kind of hero arc into it. The classic you need to save someone now kind of trope. Because, well, Keima takes it like a pro, of course. He doesn't care. He's kind of immune to everything that doesn't encounter his logic full on. He's like, oh well, okay, if there's demons, there's gods. Sure, if there's goddess in you, that's cool. And the goddesses actually they live inside the girls and they can come out, encountered by the glowing ring there, the halo, and the goddesses are related to the girls trope, but not fully spot on about it. And there's this situation where all of the 6 goddesses need to be gathered, and Keima's got a week to do it. So there's Diana and all of the other goddesses. Apollo is inside of Kanon, Diana is inside of Tenri. These are the 2 that are known, so Keima has a week to weed down the 4 goddesses, but he's got 5 girls. And he kind of sets out to play it like a slap bass. He's just, he's gonna do it in a week by playing them like a game. And the girls don't really take it as well as you might think. At all. Especially the goddesses. The goddesses don't like Keima. The goddesses need him because his love for, well, actually the girls' love towards him makes the goddesses grow more powerful. But the goddesses kind of feel that Keima is kind of a scumbag. He's a player. This is the first time that the series really explores the fact that he is a player. He plays girls. He picks girls and he gets to kiss them and he moves on. And the series goes on to speed build a harem from a situation where all of the harem cases were impossible because none of the girls remembered him. It's not possible for him to have more than one girl at a time, the capture at hand. And all of a sudden, he's got 6 plus 1 because there's the 5 girls of which he doesn't know which one doesn't have a goddess inside them. And he kind of ends up becoming the thing that he's paradised, Keima there. It's been all about paradising harem anime tropes this far, and all of a sudden, bam, you've got a harem anime. You've got 7 girls, all of them want to be with Keima. Keima needs to be with all of them, which is the kind of spin-off there. He doesn't get to choose. He's trying to maintain relations with everyone, and everyone wants his attention. Everyone wants him for themselves, of course. The goddesses are really obtuse about it. They're like, you have to choose, and you have to choose my girl, of course. Keima just ends up kind of playing his game there, because he kind of has to, and he sort of seems to enjoy it from time to time. And from time to time not. And he really, this is the part, he plays it. The whole of the 3rd season is Keima playing girls, but not playing them as girls, playing them as games. It's very self-aware, the series, about this. He's playing a game, but it kind of shows no awareness to the fact that it's at the same time becoming a harem anime. There are a few outsiders that end up in the bunch as well. All of a sudden, all the girls except Elsie, who is considered a buddy or sister character, just want to be with Keima. Everyone. Really, really, really everyone. Even the goddesses. This is not Tenri, this is Diana, as you can tell from the halo. And even she wants to be with Keima. And yeah. But all of a sudden, Keima's character starts to make no sense. He's still Keima as per se, but suddenly he's also the main character of this harem anime, and he's all acting the part of the main character of a harem anime. I haven't read the manga. The manga has progressed a bit beyond where season 3 ends. Even the translation, the original, was even further. But Okay, so it keeps on doing what the goddesses arc starts. So the goddesses are playing a big part of it. Okay, so does the harem aspect keep on running in it as well? But either or, it's kind of becoming the thing it parodized. And what are the tropes that we end up with this? There's not as many as you think, apart from the girls. The girls are like really Keima's big thing, and Kawanomi's big thing. But it loves to do fun at poking Galg's games like really, really openly. Keima actually ponders at what games should have, what they shouldn't have. And he ends up with a bit of a debate with himself. I'll play the second video clip I have from an episode where he's asked what kind of game he would like to have if he got to choose. And it's kind of a fever dream that he ends up with.
ほらの言う通りに作ってもらえるだか
See if we can...
どんなゲームがいいかな喧嘩かはライ
This is
ター
all
は
happening in his head.
まあでも可愛い女の子が出てればそれだけでオラはええよ
冗談じゃない。
お
せっかくの機会だ。とことん志の高いものを作ってもらおう。重厚なストーリーが必要だ。深淵で緻密な設定とストーリーが女の子をより輝かせるんだ。
ほへー
それよりゲーム性だよ。ギャルゲーと名乗る以上、ゲーム的な面白さこそ大切だ。ゲーム性？ 女の子に会うだけのゲームでパラメーターとか何の意味があんだよ。おたけ、10時間も文章だけが続くなんてゲームじゃねえ、新聞だ。
おい、喧嘩はやめるだよ。属性を忘れるなよ。お、属性こそ理想化の極致。
待て待て、今のギャルゲーは結局音楽だろ。じゃあサウンドノベルでもやっとけ。難しければいいってもんじゃないぞ、このフラグマニア。
ランドする、ランドする、
そんなに泣きたきゃ玉ねぎ切れ。おかしい、理想のゲームは頭の中でとっくにできていたはずなのに。
He ends up sending a mail, please make a good game, sincerely, the capturing god. So the most of the fun that's poked at the games specifically is done like this. It's really out in the open. It's not played out at all. It's like, look, we're poking fun at what we kind of are parodizing here. Look, now poke. It's does things like this. It's both generic and specific at the same time, and it doesn't point names, not specific names at any games or any trope as such, but it's all about. To wrap it up, it's a meta series about the games, but it needs to be a meta series about harem anime at the same time, and it understands it, but it doesn't really know how to pick its side. It's one and the other at the same time. It kind of gets to a point where it feels like it's meta about itself, because it begins as something about the games, but ends up with the third season and the manga going where it's going. It ends up kind of more being harem or shonen and harem combo. It remains a bit of a mystery to me, even after all the research I did to this, how much of the meta and the jokes are kind of self-aware. The series knows a lot of the jokes that it's making, and it usually points out that we're making a joke here. It's so obvious that it can't be anything but self-aware, but then half of the time it forgets to do it. This picture is from where he needs to recapture the tomboy girl who likes to dress up as a boy, so he ends up dressing as a girl. Does these kind of swap things. It builds around sort of a theme and plays out a small mini ideal around it, and then it moves on to the next one, and it gets to encounter and ponder on all of the meta aspects of the Galgas games genre and the harem anime genre at the same time. But it's an ongoing series. The anime will probably get a fourth season, since the first three have been really successful, and the manga is ongoing, so it might find itself a bit more breathing room and define itself more. But what it leaves us with at this moment is that the main thing about both the harem animes and the Galgas games are the girls, the girl tropes. You get a box that you can kind of look at the cover and you know what you get inside. There's a sports girl, there's the rich girl, there's the shy girl. And that's what the series focuses on. It's what really makes it tick. And thanks for listening, thanks for participating, and the cat will take your questions. I might answer them, but he takes them, if you have any. All right, thank you.